No Rock and Roll Radio. I think the first song that I wrote, it was just a scathing diatribe about corporate rock radio and consultants that ruined and stifled radio for so long, and it, they would refuse to let anything new be aired. They would say, oh, all these punk bands like R.E.M. and the Police and U2 and the Pretenders and Blondie, they won't be around next week. Just keep playing Stairway to Heaven and, Freebird. And they really had a stranglehold on the music scene for a long time. Swing Right is about right-wing assholes and religious nuts. But I wanted to do it with irony, and it's this upbeat, sing-songy reggae tune. We were all very into reggae as well, and so it wound up with a silly little dance, and the more frivolous we could make the delivery, for some reason it would really underscore the seriousness of the message of the song. So it's, as everybody knows, it turned out to be one of our big staple songs, if not our number one staple song, with all the fans getting on stage all the time. And I remember the first time Waylon played with us, we played Swing Right, and like 30 people came up on stage, and amps were falling, and drums and cymbals were falling everywhere, and Waylon was kind of freaking out and just sort of hid behind Craig's bass amp, which was probably pretty precarious because the bass amp could have come over on top of him at any second. So it's still fun like that. Curtis's songs were all kind of about girls and rich girls and girls that were crazy and girls that he wanted and couldn't have, or girls that wanted him and he didn't want, or it was just Curtis just wrote girl songs. Curtis became Curtis Mick because we played, I think, a nooner at Sac State University. All these people came up to get autographs because they were reading a lot about us, and I noticed as all the pieces of paper and whatnot were coming around that we were all signing, that Curtis was signing his name with famous people's names. So, it came Curtis Lennon, Curtis McCartney, Curtis Townsend came through, and eventually there was one that just said Curtis Mick. And so to this day, he's Curtis Mick. So about the reunion, in 2010, Mark Cholas, who had filmed Swing Right, and wanted to film more videos, but they just, never happened. We did wind up back in the 80s, recording more songs for a proposed second features album that didn't happen. But we had a bunch of songs for it. Anyway, he approached me in 2010 and said he was putting up a website, myhometownbands.com, that would highlight and showcase all sorts of memorabilia about Sacramento bands, especially from back in the day. So he wanted, songs that were turned into MP3s and videos and all the articles. We were on the cover of Aardvark a lot. We were, in fact, just in the papers a lot. And I ended up scanning a lot of that stuff and sent it to him. So he said, I want to promote this. What do you think about the guys getting back together? And we'd all remain friends, so I called him up and we decided to do it. So we rehearsed for a couple of days and played the press club, and it turned out to be a really fun thing. It was just, tons of people from back in the day who hadn't seen each other in years. So opening for us was Harry Price. He had this new act called Pog, but Harry had been in a band called Mnemonics that used to open for us a lot back in the day. So during the year between 2010 and 2011 summer, Harry started putting together a big show that he secured to be at Harlows, and we would do shows built around the publicity of that. But this particular show was a big 80s Sacramento bands reunion show with Mnemonics and Rhythm School and Tattooed Love Dogs and Monty Solorio from Black Slacks, all reuniting and opening for the features, or supporting the features on the bill. Actually, Tattooed Love Dogs closed the show because we thought that all of our fans would be needing to go to bed by 11:30 midnight. As it turned out, we stayed up really, really late, but it was a blast. It was really, really fun. So that could actually turn into something that happens even more. But there was video footage, and luckily that's coming to see the light of day. Pride in Peril was a band that arose from the ashes of the Features. What happened is I went to England. When I came back, I had a bunch of demo tapes and went to San Francisco and then straight down to Los Angeles. And, you know, with the intent of finding somebody, a producer that would find a home for these demo tapes. Maybe there'd be a record or a record deal or a publishing deal or something. And since, you know, the anticipated record deal had never happened to the Features, so, you know, I had this sort of fire to let these songs reach the light of day. And I wanted it to be a guitar band, so of course I called Waylon, because he plays guitar a whole lot better than I do, and knows how I work. And Greg Dowdy, the bass player from the Features, Greg found a drummer, Curtis Blankenship. So there was the four of us, you know, started talking about a band, but I didn't really have anything going. I found a producer down in Venice Beach named Ethan James. And he had, you know, Ethan James puts out these records, the Radio Tokyo series, because his studio is called Radio Tokyo. And he was producing Jane's Addiction and the Bangles and all these cool bands, L7. And so I just kind of camped out there, and we put together, I don't know, just a short demo tape, and he tossed it out there. And next thing you know, we had a showcase. So I got on a bus and went to Sac, and we rehearsed for about a week and a half, and came down and played a showcase show with a bunch of labels, and that was at Club Lingerie on Sunset Boulevard. And I wound up with like a publishing deal, and we wound up with a management, not a management, I'm sorry, we did wind up with a management contract, but we wound up with a development deal with A&M, and then major management with a live management, which is Shep Gordon's company, and they manage like Alice Cooper and Luther Vandross and a bunch of films, scary filmmakers like Wes Craven and John Carpenter. And the bookings were being handled through the William Morris Agency, mainly because Alan Hopper was with the agency, and he was a big fan of the Features, who had booked us a lot, and like at the University of Nevada, Reno. So, you know, we had some things kind of set up and ended up recording a ton of material, enough for 2 records. And then A&M got sold, and so anybody who had a record had any association with A&M who wasn't Janis Jackson or Sting, basically kind of got locked up in the vaults, and luckily we were able to get all of that material back and release them independently, which was fine. Greg Dowdy had a side company that was like it was a sound company with the Jazz Clover Productions, with a guy named Greg Dean, who ran a booking company called Jazz Clover Productions in Sacramento. So the two of them formed a sound company and took a lot of Greg's time. So we got a new bass player, a guy named Dan Rothschild, who has done very, very well since. He was in Tonic and with Sheryl Crow and Beck and Shakira and, you know, you name it. Anyway, I met Val Kilmer and started working with him on a movie about the Doors, the band The Doors, and we wound up in the film. And then Entertainment Tonight did a piece on us about the film. So all of a sudden we had kind of a presence again, and we started selling records and started playing again. And that happened for a while. And then I think Dan's dad got ill, and Dan sort of dropped out to help his dad. His dad was a producer and had started a jazz label, and Dan went on to do that. So Waylon and I headed back up to Sacramento and recruited Curtis Mick Hillier, who was in the Features, to play piano and organ, and Steel Breeze's former their rhythm section, Vinnie Pantaleone on bass and Charlie McGimsey on drums, joined as the new Pride and Peril rhythm section. We recorded an album called Root Bag. It was really rootsy and fun and rocked like a hurricane, if I may give a nod to the Scorpions once again. So that's what we did. We recorded another record. We played for a while, and then, you know, I came to Atlanta and opened a recording studio before going back and reuniting with all these guys for some reunion shows.